Something bizarre is happening in the U.S. housing market, and hardly anyone's talking about it. Prices are still near record highs, yet under the surface, cracks are spreading. Sales have dried up, inventory is building. And if you've lived long enough to remember the last crash, you know exactly how this movie begins. Because what's happening in 2025 looks a lot like 2005. And if history repeats itself, the collapse doesn't start everywhere. It starts in one place. Back in 2005, Miami, Florida was ground zero for one of the greatest asset bubbles in U.S. history. The condo market was red hot. Prices were soaring. Inventory was tight. But by 2007, something strange began to happen. Sales plummeted, down 44%. Yet somehow, prices kept rising. Sound familiar? Condo listings ballooned to 36 months of supply, 6 times what's considered healthy. In some buildings, like the flashy 37-story The View in Brickell, units that sold for $513,000 were foreclosed and auctioned off for just $90,000 3 summers later. That's an 82% drop in just one condo. And here's the kicker. Even now, in 2025, similar units in that same building still haven't regained their original peak value. You might ask, why look back nearly 20 years? Because what happened in Miami in 2007 is exactly what's happening again, right now. The red flags? Practically identical. Inventory levels are rising fast, sales are freezing, and yet, somehow, prices are holding steady. Just like before, most sellers are in denial. They're pulling listings, blaming agents, and waiting for that one dumb buyer to overpay. And just like before, that silence before the crash is where the real trouble begins. Nationally, the data is painting a confusing picture. At first glance, prices appear stable. But underneath, the market is practically frozen. Pending home sales have plunged to record lows, worse than 2024, which was already a down year. According to the Mortgage Bankers Association, loan applications are at historic lows. Homes are sitting longer on the market, and price growth has stalled in most regions. In fact, 12 states have now returned to, or surpassed, pre-pandemic inventory levels. That means more homes, fewer buyers, and a widening gap between what people want to sell for and what buyers are willing to pay. Let's go back to Miami, because once again, it's flashing bright red. Right now, the Miami Beach condo market is sitting at 15 months of supply. In Sunny Isles, just up the road, it's even worse, 21 months. That's not just elevated, that's triple what's considered balanced. And yet, just like in 2007, prices are still holding on. For now. Media coverage remains quiet, but those watching closely, real estate insiders, analysts, even legacy firms, are growing increasingly nervous. Because when a market's fundamentals break like this, it doesn't just reset, it snaps. Here's the part most people miss. When a bubble bursts, it doesn't look like a crash at first. It looks like nothing. We're in that phase now, the nothingness. Listings sit unsold, buyers stay on the sidelines, prices drift, but don't fall. Yet. And everyone waits for someone else to blink first. Even Warren Buffett warned about this dynamic years ago, explaining how real estate markets freeze before they collapse. Because homes don't trade every day. You don't know your home's real value until someone actually buys it. And right now, nobody's buying. Now here's where things could turn uglier than 2008. Today's buyers are more leveraged. Affordability is tighter. Wages haven't kept up with costs, and a massive share of Americans are locked into ultra-low mortgage rates from 2020 and 2021, meaning they can't or won't move. Analysts from J.P. Morgan and Redfin are already signaling alarm. Their forecast? A frozen market, with months or years of stagnant prices and collapsing activity. But that kind of stall isn't harmless. It sets the stage for panic. All it takes is one external shock, a rate spike, a job market downturn, or a Wall Street sell-off. And that freeze becomes a landslide. So what happens next? No one knows the exact day the dam breaks. But the patterns are here: rising supply, falling demand, flat prices, and deep denial, just like 2007. And once again, Miami may be the first to fall, a canary in the coal mine for what's to come nationwide. So keep an eye on the markets. Look at the months of supply. Watch pending sales. See if your neighborhood feels quieter than usual. Because if the crash has already begun, history tells us it'll hit fast and hard. If you found this breakdown helpful, don't forget to tap that like button and subscribe for more deep dives just like this. And tell us in the comments what's happening in your local housing market. Thanks for watching, and stay sharp out there.